I want to talk motor painting really quick because I guess I just got done doing it, and I've done a few of them now at this point, and I found that there's two ways to paint a motor. You can paint a motor after it's been assembled, or you can paint it as you assembled, as in you'd paint the heads separate from the block, separate from the timing cover, but I found that to look the best that way, but it's the most time consuming. Or you can do it this way like I did it, where when I have real ugly and nasty looking bolts, I just went ahead and painted the whole thing as one unit, and then I have my valve covers and my intake manifold a different color. But I could have done a different color timing cover, but I just didn't want to tape off that much. And it's going in this Corvette, and you can't really see it anyway. But anyway, the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure you have all the oil off your motor, and really that's as simple as going and buying some paint thinner and then just taking the cap off and setting a rag on there, dousing the rag, and you just go around and you want to make sure you wipe all the oil off, and you really want to make sure you get it, or else your paint won't stick and it'll be a really nasty mess. What I also want to mention is a lot of people, they don't cover up orifices. Like this is where that's where the water pump hooks into, and you want to be sure to do that, because even if you think that you can sand it off later, you end up just harming the finish. Now, I didn't tape this perfect on the intake manifold, but you can always get a little off, but it's hard if you cover everything. So I super recommend plugging all orifices, like exhaust manifold, use some old spark plugs, and just shooting it that way. It turns out to be the easiest, and you get the best results in the end. So just take the time and tape everything off real well, and you definitely won't regret it later. But when I paint cast iron like this, I usually go in 3 or 4 coats. I'll go a nice thin first coat, and then let that set up, and then kind of a heavy second coat, and then a pretty thick third coat. And especially with cast iron, where it's not real smooth, it has a lot of holding power. So it can be done pretty easy without any runs, really, except for your pan. And again, you want to have all your old paint. I don't know if I mentioned that. You want to have all your old paint off your blocks. So I usually paint blocks that I boil, or I've done extensive sanding and wire brushing to. Really, a wire wheel helps the best, and you can pick those up. Any attachments for a sander are pretty cheap, but you can just use hand sandpaper. I've done a few 302s that way, and they came out pretty good, and they're still good today. The paint's still on them. So the biggest key is to get most of the contaminants off the parts and any loose paint, and then from there you ought to be all right. And you want to plug all your ports that you don't want to get crap in. So anywho, that's kind of a general overview of how I paint motors and how I found it to be the best and come out looking the best and functioning the best. So, and of course, you always want to cover up any seal. You definitely don't want to get paint in the seal. So anyway, that's pretty much all I got on that. So good luck.